Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. The assault rifle category here in season 4 reloaded of Warzone is extremely competitive. I've been running the numbers on all the rifles to try and figure out the top 5 best you want to be running right now, and quite frankly, putting them in order 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is extremely difficult. That's sort of exemplified here by looking at true game data, where I've pretty much narrowed this down to the top 5: the Kastov 762, the M13, the STB, the M4, and the Lockman 556. All right, so post-edit Zach here / new shirt Zach here. Obviously, we were going to jump into some true game data stats and whatnot and break down some rifle statistics and see where things were. But earlier on this week, after I had just recorded that video, conveniently enough, they put out a new update. And in said update, they ended up doing a handful of weapon adjustments that directly affected the assault rifle category, which makes part of the list that I was initially having planned for this video invalid, specifically with the Lockman 556 and the M4. Each of these were going to be featured in this video, but now obviously post-update things are a bit different. The Lockman 556 caught some pretty severe changes here to its damage overall, which was kind of surprising, and even the M4 got nerfed as well. So now post-update, we have some setups that'll be the same as they were pre-update, and that's why you'll see old shirt Zach, but then also there's a couple of changes here to replace the Lockman 556 and the M4 in the new top 5 for the rifles, which will feature new shirt Zach. And also, kind of inconveniently, after this update, it still didn't fix my game constantly crashing when I'm on the main menu, so we've got some alternative screens for our loadouts as well. So shout out to Warzone Loadout and the COD Community app, because this basically allows me to go through and update my loadouts on the site so that they're always readily available, and then you can create these custom graphics, which are super nice, that actually feature setups here. So the Kastov 545 is one of the replacements I now throw in, and this is arguably one of the easier weapons to use. If you're looking for a weapon that's like the Lockman 556, I'd turn towards the Kastov 545 because it's going to be super low recoil, still not crazy damage, but because it's so straightforward and so easy to use, you're going to be able to fry all the same over range just like you would with the Lockman 556. You know, this versus a much higher recoil weapon is going to be similar in TTK, obviously, of course, depending on your level of skill, because you'll miss more shots with option B, whereas option A here in the Kastov 545 is much easier to use. So as far as the setup goes here, optic, of course, we're always going for the AMOB V4 tuning for that furthest eye position and whatnot. I go for the Harbinger D20 suppressor. This is a heavier option, so it's going to help out with some control as well, obviously tuning to enhance that once more. I go for the 406 barrel, tuning for the better range and velocity and whatnot on here, basically just making it more efficient in the mid to long range where we're obviously going to be using the 545. We also have high velocity on here, which is going to be extra convenient as well, just making it feel more consistent and reliable, again, in the mid to long range. Then I go for the 60 round mag, pretty standard and pretty straightforward there. And, you know, overall, this setup, like I said, is definitely a great replacement to the Lockman 556 if you're looking for something just super simple and super straightforward. Now, the M13's been close to or at the top of the rifle meta for a couple of seasons now. People like to say, you know, oh, this thing shoots marshmallows, it's a pea shooter, it does no damage, but the stats on paper don't lie. This has one of the best TTKs over long range. The reason that people feel like it's a pea shooter is because it takes a few more shots to kill, but that fire rate is so fast that those shots are landing very, very quickly, and that makes the TTK actually ultra competitive over long range. And this is also a relatively easy weapon to use as well. The recoil here is pretty straightforward, and in fact, it's so easy that I don't even use an underbarrel in this case. I go for the combination of high velocity ammo and the Bruin Echelon barrel. This is going to be another 3-in-1 combo, better range, better velocity, better control as well. So you're getting some control out of this. You're just not getting the stabilization of like an underbarrel here, but this is a setup that I've used repeatedly in ranked, in pubs, everywhere, and it's consistent. You just got to spend some time learning that recoil pattern, you know, jump into the firing range, you'll be good to go. I also got the 60 round mag on here, AMOB V4 as well. And then because we don't have an underbarrel, I do go for a heavier suppressor in Harbinger, which is going to help out with some of that recoil control alongside the velocity and the range as well. So it'll make it a bit easier to use and just overall optimizes it for those mid to long range fights. Now, as we get into the last 3 here, quick reminder, if you are new here, every single day I got you covered with the meta breakdowns, update coverage, patch notes, you name it, everything going on in COD is right here. So feel free to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date. And if you enjoy this video, if you find it helpful at all, if you're taking those screenshots to help you out when you jump in a game next, be sure to let me know by dropping a like as well. It is seriously appreciated, and it does really help grow the channel. Now, the STB 556, honestly, you can make an argument this is the #1 rifle because it's by far the most versatile versatile. This build is meant for the mid to long range as mentioned, but you could also build it out to be more of like an AR SMG hybrid for sniper support, straight up for long range. It's good everywhere, has great mobility, super easy to use as well, gives the Lockman 5.56 a run for its money, quite frankly. I got the AMOT V4 here, standard as always. The 42 round mag is the drawback here. If this had a 50 round mag, a 60 round mag, this might be the #1 most used rifle in the game, frankly, but 42 is somewhat limiting here. You do have to be cautious and be mindful of where you're at with your ammo count because you don't want to be caught reloading and have that cost you your game. I go for high velocity here. You don't need an underbarrel yet again because it's just so straightforward. Rear guard barrel here will help out with the range and the velocity, just increasing that efficiency in the mid to long range. Then once more, Harbinger suppressor for that slightly better control, the better velocity, the better range on there as well. Even this setup, obviously the ADS is a little bit slower because it's meant for the long range, but mid range as well, you can fry here. This is such a reliable and versatile rifle. I love it. Now, my other alternative is going to be the ISO Hemlock. This is my other replacement here, sort of, switching this in for the M4 and the Lockman 5.56. Hemlock, of course, was the go-to rifle for some time, and quite frankly, pinpointing this versus maybe wanting to include the Razorback or the 74U, it's tough for sure. I think I really just wanted to focus on the mid to long range and give you guys options for this, since of course we also have just covered the close range meta here recently post update. But Hemlock, much like the Lockman 5.56 pre-nerf, much like the M4 pre-nerf, much like the Kastov 5.45 now, is going to be super low recoil, very straightforward, and very consistent once more. Doesn't have the craziest damage in the world. You know, you're not going to erase players in 4 bullets, but you're going to be accurate. You're going to be able to consistently hit your target over longer ranges, 60, 70, 80 plus meters and beyond, which is super convenient and why I feel like this is going to be a top choice yet again. Not as good as it was, you know, when this was the main #1 rifle, but still absolutely able to hold its own with the other options on the list here today. And once more, if I go through and hide the face cam for the attachments, we're running the AMOT V4, the Harbinger D20 here as well. I go for the Fielder T50 barrel to enhance that mid to long range, high velocity as well for that better consistency. And then the 45 round mag, this is the max here. The fire rate is not too crazy though, so even though that's a smaller magazine than some of our other options, you're still going to be able to, you know, not have to worry about reloading constantly mid-fight because you're going to be accurate and you're going to be knocking players and have the time to do so when necessary, right? But I mean, this rifle category, especially with these new adjustments made, honestly just makes it a little bit more competitive. Although the adjustments were strange, you now have a few more options that we really haven't seen in some time, or really ever, as far as like the Kastov 5.45 goes. And then lastly, the powerhouse is back. The 7.62 you guys saw on the graph. Because of true game data, this TTK is nuts. It's one of the better options in the game in general, not just the rifles, but in general for fast killing long range options. It does have a bit more control, so this setup is largely focused on that. I'm going for the AMOT V4 and the 40 round mag. As much as I would love to use a barrel here for better range, velocity, and control, the velo on this thing in general is pretty poor, so I feel like you have to use high velocity just to make it feel a little bit more consistent. Ripper, again, obviously for that better stabilization and stability. And then Talon is, again, a heavier suppressor, so slightly better control, better velocity, better range on here as well. Spend some time learning the recoil on this thing because it's well worth mastering this and really memorizing that pattern. So in game, if you're fighting at 90 meters or 45 meters, you can hit shots consistently and just erase enemies, send them straight to the gulag. But that being said, those are the top 5 best rifles here in Warzone 2 right now. And that's going to wrap things up. If you enjoyed the video or if you found it helpful, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. That way you can always guarantee you are up to date with absolutely everything going on in the world of COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.